family did Brucellosis belong to, or like what kingdom would you say?
I don't know that right off the top of my head. It is in the book, definitely though. And it depends on what species. They have a scientific name differs from species. So those three that I showed you, depending on which one you're talking about. Any more questions?
How do we know which lab we're doing today?
Lab questions later on. We're talking about lecture classes. We'll get wrapped up in lab stuff and our time goes by fast. So anything pertaining to lab for now, you have lecture questions at the end. I mean, lab questions at the end, I'm sorry. Lecture questions right now of the material. Or put it in the chat and one of the TAs or Dr. Abrahamson could answer it. All right, so this week we are on week 4, switching gears. And so it's already in the 4th week. So time is definitely going by fast. And you have had a lot to read and information to digest. So make sure you're not getting behind on your readings. This week we are in chapter 20. Your pre-labs are due today. Make sure you pass your safety quiz. Your Breeze quiz 2 is also coming up. Make sure that everything is working properly. I'm still getting a lot of issues from IT and people that are not able to open items on D2L or IT issues. I cannot help you with IT issues. So make sure before Breeze quiz 2 that you have those kinks and issues worked out.
Breed quiz was due at 9 a.m. So you don't have a chance to do it again.
I didn't understand the comment.
The breed quiz was already due at 9 a.m. today.
Okay. Okay. So those of you who did not take it, then you missed it. All right, so in the chat, just try to do roll call and see who's here. What is your favorite moment or person in Black history? If it's you, how and why? So I'll give you a couple minutes to answer that. Were there any questions in the chat? Cheers.
Someone asked if they needed to make 100 on the quiz.
Say it one more time.
Someone said that they do they have to make 100 on the safety quiz?
If you've already attempted the first attempt, then any attempt after the first one, you do have to make 100 on it, yes. But however, that does not excuse you for showing up from lab.
I thought she said it was after a certain date that it was turned to 100%.
Maybe we heard differently. That might be the case. Dr. Abrahamson, are you on?
Yeah, I didn't hear what she said.
She's asking about the safety quiz. If after the first attempt, is it that you make 100 or after that set date that you have to make 100?
No. The way I understood it is if you scored less than 80 on the first attempt, then you had to make 100 on the remaining attempts.
That was my understanding as well. So after the first attempt, you have to make 100. First attempt is 80. After that, 100.
The rest of the.
Okay. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure Dr. B said that we had to make it 80% or higher on the quiz, regardless of the first attempt, second attempt, third. She just told us we need to do it 80% or higher.
That's what I heard as well.
As well here.
She said after a certain amount of times, but she didn't say how many times.
No, the first attempt, 80%. After that, you have to make 100%.
That wasn't clear.
Well, now I'm letting you all know.
But if it was already
It's been stated several
due,
times, and
then
that was the understanding.
And there's an unlimited amount of attempts.
the attempts are gone.
Wait, when did she make it clear we had to make 100?
Yeah, that was never
Yes.
told to us
That was
at all.
All right.
Yeah, that's not what you
Put it in the, if you have any questions or concerns regarding it, it was mentioned several times. So email me or set an appointment with Dr. B or set an appointment with me during the lab office hours. But this, I mean, it's the same. Frank and I's understanding is the same. So
that wasn't clarified to students.
So do we have until 12? I think the deadline is until 12 p.m. today or the afternoon.
I didn't understand you.
The deadline for the quiz is at 12 today. So when were we notified
So
to make
get it done.
100
It's
after
been
we
open
made
for a
the
while. Get it done. It's been open for a while. All right. Any more questions in the chat before we proceed with the information today?
No, there's not anymore.
All right. Thanks. So again, like I said, we're in chapter 2, breeds and life cycles of sheep and goats. And so this first portion is going to be on your sheep. Historical perspective, sheep arrived in the Americas with the second voyage of Columbus. Sheep flocks flourished with the Spanish mission system in the Southwest. U.S. breeds are predominantly of meat type as compared to fine wool. It was considered why we use sheep here. Wool type breeds such as Rambia are very important in the Western ewe flocks. Sheep genealogy, Ovis, Aries, common terminology is ovine. Modern breeds of sheep in the U.S. are roughly categorized as wool type, such as Rambouillet, meat type, such as Suffolk. And those are breeds of sheep. If you look in your book and also on the OSU site. Sheep life cycles, lambing. Lambing season is generally concentrated in the spring months. Many breeds of sheep are seasonally polyestrous, primarily breeding in fall. Example, your Hampshire breed. Polyestrous, maybe just multiple. They have multiple. They come into multiple estrus cycles within one season. Some breeds are non-seasonally polyestrous, meaning that they may breed fall or spring. The Dorset breed is a example of that. Gestation in sheep is about 5 months. And so as you go through your reading and you immerse yourself within this, animal science industry or the livestock industry, you'll get to see why the estrus cycle of these different animals are very important, and how the management plan, how and why the management plan is very important depending on what type of operation you're running. So newborn lamb management, birth weight 8 to 12 pounds is common. Colostrum feeding, lambs should nurse within first hour. We discussed last week the importance of colostrum feeding and the animal receiving that within the first hours of being born. Navel dripping, antiseptic solution to prevent infection. identification, record keeping begins. And so once the animal is born, then their record keeping day one should start and persist. In the first month, you have tail docking. Tails will be removed to increase productive performance and increase cleanliness. Horn removal, if not genetically pulled. Castration depends on production system. Many early marketed ram lambs will be castrated. So if they know automatically that they're going to the market, then they will definitely be castrated among a lot of livestock breeds. Crate feeding, lambs may be fed extra energy where there is needed. Weaning from dam, wide range from 2 to 5 months of age exists due to differing production systems. And so for lamb, this is specific to lamb management, whether or not they are full from their weaning time from the dam. It's specific to lamb management. Female replacements. Goal 1, first lambing by year 1 of age. Selected females will be bred at about 7 to 8 months of age in their first fall season. Some ewe lambs will not be adequate size to breed in the first fall. And so that's why it's important to record keeping and making sure that the animals are up to par and your feed management system is up to par also, so that these animals can hit their weight when they need to for breeding purposes, lambing purposes, and finishing purposes. Goal 12 months being lambing intervals. So that's the second goal for female replacement. Replacement males, light utilization and breeding program at 1 year of age, tend to be infertile in summer months, virtually no use of AI in sheep. And so a lot of livestock breeds in the industry, they are going to AI, which is artificial insemination, but in sheep in replacement for males, then that is not typically a practice used, but some can use this particular practice. And so putting a male on at age 1, just introducing him, he may or may not breed, and so you will introduce him with another male in some practices. So that's a snippet of the sheep portion of chapter 20. And so I'm moving to the goat life cycle. Like I said, in chapter 20, it goes into a lot of detail on sheep and goat operations. So make sure you get a chance to read the chapter in its entirety. Goats were among the first domesticated animals, and they were domesticated for their meat, milk, and mohair. U.S. goat population is approximately 20 million. Around the time, Texas predominates in the production of goats, which stands true currently. Goat milk in the U.S. is not legally sold as milk, therefore generally sold as cheese, which now it's being more and more common that you can find goat milk on the shelves in stores. Worldwide, more people consume goat's milk than cow's milk. And so that is a great question, a test question to answer. Although in the US, we are very big on dairy milk, cattle milk. And so why is it that goat's milk than cows? What are some of the reasons why goat milk will be more widely consumed than cow's milk? So just keep that in mind. Go through the chapter and read some of those whys. Your genealogy for your goats. Capria, genus, Harcus, species, It's a European breed, such as Saanen and Alpine, which is a common meat goat species. Common terminology is Supreme. So goat life cycle, kidding, much of the production of goats for milk or meat mirrors their bovine counterparts. Goats are seasonally polyestrous, similar to your sheep, primarily breeding in the fall and kidding in the spring. Kids from dams and milking units will be weaned and managed similar to dairy calves. And so make sure you know what are some of those similarities between goats and dairy calves that during these cycles, what are some of the similarities in management? So kid management, birth weight 6 to 12 pounds common. In colostrum feeding, you should nurse within first hour. You have your navel dipping antiseptic solution to prevent infection. Identification, record keeping begins. So a good management plan will always have record keeping. Female replacements, the goal one, kidding by first year of age. Selected females will be bred at about 7 to 8 months of age in their first fall season if they have put on the percentage of weight that allows them to. Gestation in goats is about 5 months. So make sure you're familiar with the various gestation periods between the different livestock breeds. Goal 2, 12 months kidding intervals. Goal 3, 10-month lactation or milk type does. Placement meals, light utilization and breeding program, limited use of AI because of low level of commercial availability of frozen semen. And so the reason why goats are not artificially inseminated because the availability of frozen semen. And so the goat market has increased, but it's not as well established as some of the other livestock breeds that has been around quite a bit of time. Goats, domestication of goats have been around quite a bit of time, but the knowledge and information that we have in comparison to other livestock breeds is not up to par. Your meat goats, meat type goats generally wean to feedlot at 1 to 12 months of age, 40 to 60 pounds. Slaughter weight is generally 100 to 125 pounds. Examples of your meat goats or your Boer Kiko goats, which we have on TU's farm. So hopefully you'll be able to see some of those today, those of you who have in-person lab. Mohair producing goats, main breed Angora, production 6 to 14 pounds per year. Mohair has less crimp than wool, but considerable strength and a bright sheen when dyed. Heavily used in upholstery rather than apparel fabrics. So there's a picture of what one looks like. All right, so just giving you a snippet of what can be found in the chapter, within the chapter. And so, a few housekeeping. Dr. Abrahamson, are you on?